Wake up with the Nassau Morning Madhouse, winner in 2023, and now nominated for the 2024 Intercollegiate Broadcasting System Best Morning Show Award.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC HD Garden City.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and on the WHPC app.
90.3 WHPC.
Don't give up on us, baby. Don't make the wrong seem right.
90.3
The future isn't
WHPC. The Tim Leonard choice for today, actually.
in the moonlight.
And we're happy to say that's not a bad thing. Hello, brother.
Good morning, brother.
How are you? And I'm getting echo
I've been
here.
better.
I'm getting a little echo. Why am I getting echo? How about that, brother? No, that's not it.
You good?
I'm hearing echo.
I'm hearing echo from you.
Yeah, I know. Hold on a second.
Just for a rainy evening when maybe stars are few. Don't give up on us, I know we can still come through.
What about now, brother?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, okay, I'm good.
All right.
Hold on, am I?
Awesome.
No, I'm hearing a little bit. I'm hearing a little
I
echo.
don't hear echo.
Oh, I'm hearing echo. It sounds
don't
horrible.
hear
But, what am I missing here, Sean? Oh. Sorry. Zoom in.
Turn off the echo button.
And I'm hearing you now. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. I'm still
We
learning.
good?
Yeah, I've only been here 35 years. I'm only still learning. Anyway, you're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. Never again we played David Soul, brother. But he just died. And I know
Give the
this,
man his props, brother. Give the man his props.
I know
He
this was a
hutch.
special song for you back in 1977. So, anyway,
He was hutch, brother.
he
Come on.
was such. He was the cooler guy compared to Starsky? Is that what we're trying to say?
Probably.
Okay.
I would have to ask some of my female friends, but I think that's probably the consensus.
Yeah, David Soul had a good deal going. This is a great song, actually. This is a pretty cool song.
It's written
I'm looking for the instrumental part, because there's an instrumental part where it goes in, and it just follows the melody, but the instrumental is so cool, so... Anyway, he died this
Next
past
time.
week. Starsky and Hutch. He was in a couple other shows besides Starsky and Hutch. He had a huge hit with that. He's a one-hit wonder, as they know in the business. But I'm
Musically.
musically, I'm sure he didn't think he was a one-hit wonder. But hey, he probably had a couple of things. Anyway, you're listening to From the Press Box. I'm Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. Tim is sick. I'm slightly under the weather. Not as much as Tim, but I've been taking a lot of drugs, brother. I take something for
Over
my
the
nasal.
counter, brother. Let's specify here.
Everything's over the counter now.
Well, no, not everything.
Yeah, seriously.
Not really, brother.
One time, Bill Maher gave the street name, and then he gave the over-the-counter name. It was like the same stuff. So, to me, that's the main thing. So, it's
Next
all...
topic, brother.
Okay.
Next topic.
Anyway, I've been taking my share of drugs. I know you have too. And I feel better. Which is a good thing. Now, I also feel better because I think this might be the only time this year that the Jets and the Giants won on the same weekend.
It was pretty remarkable.
I was shocked and happy about that because the Jets went 7-10 over the season, which if they had paid attention a little more to a couple of the other games, they could have been in the running at least for the playoffs.
No.
Maybe.
Really, no.
If they had won three more
This
games.
was not a playoff team.
No, but that doesn't mean they couldn't make it.
The second that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, this was not a playoff team. Plain and
No, but that was like the first 4 minutes of the game.
simple. Yeah, well,
So-
that was it. That was the season right there.
So
Achilles tear, boom, season over. And there's plenty of teams where you could say the same thing, where if your quarterback suffers a catastrophic injury like that, the season would be over.
yeah, but if they were in the running,
The Giants season never got going, and then Daniel Jones got did his ACL, and the season was over. Even though they probably played better without him.
yeah, well, anyway, so I still think that, let's put it this way, brother. There was a chance that Aaron Rodgers could have came back this season. Maybe, he kept saying it was, but maybe he would have if the Jets had a chance.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they would have won a few more games
That's
in
what I'm
that
saying.
window where after Rodgers started practicing, it's entirely possible he would have at least tried to play a game, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
The Jet schedule was tough. The Giants schedule was tough. That was part of the problems for both teams this year. But the basic main elements as far as why they both had bad seasons was neither one had a good quarterback and neither one had a good offensive line. Those were the two basics. Jets had a great defense.
yeah.
Giants had a pretty good defense, but you can't win when you only have half the job solved.
No, I
And
agree with
that's
that, brother.
That's up to Coach Saleh next
Yeah.
year. That's up to Coach Dable next year. And more importantly, it's up to Joe Shane and Joe Douglas, the two GMs, to figure out what they needed to go out and get it.
I agree. I think what you're going to see with the, I mean, let's put it this way: as much as Aaron Rodgers is, going to be the excuse me, the quarterback next year, unless he trips or something. It could be a much better team for the Jets. The Giants, we don't know. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones. I like the Tommy DeVito story this year. I thought the Giants gave up on the story much too quick. I know he wasn't the second-string quarterback, but, I think he could have kept him in, especially for a season like this.
But Tyrod Taylor played very well yesterday.
He
brother.
did. I agree. He's playing for his future, too.
Exactly. And
so-
DeVito seemed like he hurt himself. He came in for one series after Taylor hurt his thumb, and when he played one series, they went 3 and out. And when he walked off the field, he looked like he was kind of limping a little bit. I haven't seen anything in the post game reporting about that, but he didn't look right when he left the field.
Right. Okay, well, that's something to think about for him. He, I liked his story. A Jersey guy playing in Jersey, is always a good story. So
It's a great story. It's a fun story. It was something to not only distract from losing, but he actually won games.
yeah.
So that made it an even better story because it's not as much of a fun story if DeVito comes in and he throws for 150 yards and the Giants keep losing. The reason it was a fun story is here's this kid who lives with his mom and dad 20 minutes or a half an hour from Giant Stadium or MetLife Stadium, and all of a sudden he gets the chance to start for one. I don't even know if he was a Giants fan. I don't know if they ever actually did show that, but he gets a chance to start for one of his boyhood teams and starts winning games where Daniel Jones wasn't doing that, and Taylor was he had didn't even have a chance because he got hurt. So the fact that DeVito was actually able to win a few games, that made the story a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that would have made it even better if he dated Taylor Swift or Selena Gomez.
She's already
or something.
taken, brother.
Yeah,
so,
he could
Come on.
have dated someone else in that singer icon category. One thing about the Jets, they beat the Patriots first time since 2010. Wow.
How about that?
And it could be Bill Belichick's last game as a coach of the Patriots. My problem, I think, if they get rid of him, is how much longer they're going to stay in the cellar. Now, this year, Belichick lost some shine. Let's be honest. But at the same,
not just this year; it's last year too.
Yeah.
Brother. It's been going on for a while.
the question is, if he is let go this week, he will probably sign up with another team. How can you not?
If he wants to,
Yeah.
I'm assuming he wants to because I'm fairly, he won't say it, but I'm fairly certain he wants to get to Don Shula's record. He's not that far away.
Right. So why not?
And there are rumors out there that San Diego Chargers would be interested. And what better place, brother, to pre-retire than San Diego?
Dad always wanted to
I
go
would
to
say thank you very
San
much.
Diego.
Belichick likes the water. He's got boats. What better place to go than San Diego? The weather's perfect. He doesn't have to deal with any crap weather like they had yesterday, where it was snowing the whole game, and he's sitting there on the sidelines, just becoming a snowman. So,
yeah, no, I agree.
If the Chargers said, "Hey, Bill, we want you to be our coach," and I'm looking down and I see, "Hey, look at Justin Herbert. Hey, that's a nice still young quarterback. Thank you very much. I'm signing up."
No,
I'm not even taking calls from other teams. Thank you very much. Let's go, San Diego.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was great seeing Belichick lose yesterday. It was just such a nice thing. I mean, the Jets actually were third place out of 4 teams, of course, in the division. So it wasn't that great, but at the same time, they were ahead of the Patriots, and that means a lot. So to me, as a Jet fan, I'll take it. Like I said, the Jets were 7-10. Not bad considering what a crappy season it was. And so I will accept what we got as Jet fans. I'm not happy, but it could have been much worse. And like I said, if they paid attention to a couple other games, they would have been in the run at least for the playoffs. No, they would have. 3 weeks ago, they said they were.
No,
they were still technically available to be in the playoffs.
I don't know what that means, technically available.
That means they could get in there. What do you think it means?
Terminology.
Yeah, I'm changing the world, man. Get on board get on board or don't watch. So,
look at this, brother! Breaking news: we have another coach firing
already. Who?
Washington Commanders have fired Ron Rivera.
Oh wow!
And yesterday, the Falcons fired Arthur Smith after their game.
Yeah, usually they wait till Monday after we get off the air. It's almost like, well, Rob and Tim on from 9 to 10. Let's not do any firings, but we have 2
I know,
already.
that's what I'm talking about.
That's good. Okay. Well, the Commanders are, they're just not a good team right now, even though they've been sold, and it's going to be a different team to watch if you're down in the D.C. area from now on.
They might even have a new name next year.
Yeah, and, that's probably a good idea. I like your idea from a few years ago. Call them the Washington Red Tails.
I know.
Then you can still have the red in there, use the same colors, same everything, and it's also historically factual and a good name, actually.
I wonder if anybody has that trademarked. I should go check. I should go do a Google search on that. Can make some money.
Yeah, why not? To me, that'd be a really cool name. And if not, use it for, the new UFL or whatever they're calling that stupid league now. It's the USFL and the XFL went out of business again and decided to merge together. And now it's called the UFL, which was a bad league from like 10 years ago. So I don't know why you wouldn't keep USFL. To me, it's a great name. It has a great history.
Nah, it's got failure on it, brother. That's why they need need new letters so that USFL is aligned with failure. That's why they rebrand.
I don't know, man. A lot of people like the USFL, except for one owner. It was a really good league. So.
Yes, exactly. So here's the story, brother. The big story with the Jets and the Giants for me is, while it was nice to see them both win and both play fairly well. I mean, the Jets Patriots game was ugly. It was sloppy. When players can't get their footing and they're slipping and sliding all over the place, you can't. It's not going to be a fun game to watch. Even though people, like fans, always say, "Oh, I love to see games in the snow." No, you don't. They're ugly. They're not fun to watch. It's not fun watching players who can't run because they can't dig their cleats into the ground.
Well,
so,
it depends. Sometimes
to me it was watching two bad teams be even worse because of the conditions.
Yeah, but so many great stories go back to the fact that there was a snowstorm or a rainstorm or bad weather. And I think that's part of it.
Well, it was that snowplow thing in New England,
That's
but
one of
because of
them.
that, they changed the rule.
Right, no plows on the fields.
The guy who drove the plow, by the way, he was in prison. The guy became the most famous prisoner in Massachusetts.
I mean, he was in prison and then he let him have a job.
He was
out?
doing like a work release thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like a convicted criminal or whatever. So he was the one. He was the one who drove the plow across, and of course Don Shula went out of his mind, and the Patriots kicked the field goal and won the game.
Well, and then with the gambling thing, now that gambling's legal in all sports, basically, especially in football, that would be even looked at even crazier nowadays.
Yeah, well, that would make it even worse. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You are correct about that, brother. But here's the thing, though. And if I'm Belichick, this is the reason why I want out of New England. All right? New England has the number 3 pick in the draft after yesterday. There are 2 legit franchise quarterbacks in this draft. Now, Chicago has the first pick. Washington has the second pick. If Chicago decides to move on from Justin Fields, and all indications are that they will, that means New England's not getting their quarterback unless they trade up.
Okay.
And if Chicago and Washington both have needs for quarterbacks, they're not trading. So now New England maybe gets Marvin Harrison Jr., who is a phenomenal wide receiver. But if you got Bailey Zappi throwing him passes, he's not going to be phenomenal. So to me, if I'm Belichick, I'm getting out at just the right time because the Patriots quarterback situation is not going to be settled anytime soon.
But I thought the genius of Bill Belichick is that he can just train anyone. Give me some guy off the street, we'll make him into a wide receiver. Give us a guy off the street, we'll make him into a defensive lineman. Wasn't that the big thing with him?
Well, Mac Jones proved that wasn't true, brother.
I know.
And Mac Jones is the reason why I have more respect for Tom Brady, because all those years that I called Tom Brady a system quarterback, which he was, but he also had more talent than I gave him credit for because Mac Jones did not run the system very well. And Mac Jones was supposed to be a pretty decent quarterback coming out of Alabama.
And what happens to the system? Maybe the system is just, used up. You think about it, brother.
The system is a byproduct of having talented players and having a good offensive line to protect the quarterback long enough, but it's also quick drop back receivers who know how to run routes, and basically you're picking up 6, 7, 8 yards at a clip.
Yeah, but maybe
it's quick passes,
but
it's opportunistic running.
But maybe defenses are now used to this and they play it better.
Not really. If you run it the right way, it's almost unstoppable. You should be in that system. You should be able to score at least 25 points a game, unless you're playing against a great defense.
Well, maybe that's what happened. Sometimes things. It's like the West Coast offense, brother. Remember that?
That's what it is.
I know that.
It basically is the West Coast offense.
But it's
kind of a hybrid version of it.
Yeah, they changed it around after a while. So things after a while you get used to it. Oh, here it comes, and we're going to figure it out.
Well, yeah. I mean, the NFL has always been a league of innovation and reaction to that innovation. They figure out how to stop something, and then it's like, all right, well, now we need to find the next new mousetrap.
Right.
So but Belichick's system, it worked. It worked for a long time.
Sure.
And I think it still would work if they had talent. I mean, their offense is garbage. I mean, there's not a single player on that offense that I would want on my team.
Well,
and when you're starting a quarterback, when Mac Jones, when any interception he throws, he thinks he's going to get pulled from the game because his coach doesn't trust him. And then your backup is a clown named Bailey Zappi. Come on. Where are you going with that?
Well, if let's say Belichick does leave, brother, or gets fired, whichever one you want to look at, it'd be a great choice for the Patriots as new coach. America's idiot, Gronkowski.
No, there's not a chance of that happening.
That would be the thing.
Not a chance of that happening. He'd have to take a pay cut to go coach the Patriots.
Really?
He's making money, brother. What are you kidding me? All the advertisements, all the Fox Sports.
That's true.
Gronk is raking it in.
There's
true. I can't even. First of all, First of all, would you want Gronkowski as the face of your
No,
franchise?
no, of course not. But he was for the period of time. And
well, yeah,
Brady's
but he
going
was
to be
because
making
he was
like
an
what?
idiot.
Brady's going to
But
make
do you
$37 million.
Do you want to
less
follow
year?
Bill Belichick, known as one of the most cerebral minds in NFL history? Do you want to follow that up with a guy who's like an intelligent sentence for him is, duh?
I thought you were going to say what? That would have been.
Well, that too.
Yeah. Well, no, I
mean,
agree
he's
with
not
that.
an intelligent guy.
No, I
or
know
at least
that.
he doesn't play one. That's
Well,
for
he's
sure.
got a good manager or a good agent who gets him jobs. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So anyway, it's nice to see the Jets and the Giants winning on the last game of the season. It was kind of a fun weekend because we haven't had too many of those this year as Jet or Giant fans in New York. The Bills won last night. They actually played pretty well, and they
Rowdy.
they're going to be playing on Saturday against the Steelers. So
And that is so. I mean, you can't tell me that win wasn't huge for the Bills because they're playing the Steelers in the playoffs. I didn't even think the Steelers were going to make the playoffs, but the Bills are now playing the Steelers, and the Dolphins are playing the Chiefs. Who would you rather play in the playoffs?
I'd rather play the Steelers.
Oh,
But
massive win
and
for Buffalo.
also we should say, I know you don't give a damn about this stuff, brother, but if we had
that?
Phil Mushnick on, this coming Saturday is going to be the first game ever exclusively streamed as a streamed game only. There's going to be no over-the-air broadcasting or cable.
Who's doing it, brother? Who's doing it?
Peacock. Where you find where Tottenham plays half the time. So you already hooked up to.
I have Peacock, so
Yeah, so a lot of people don't, and who was it? Collinsworth was saying, "Well, get one of your smart kids to set this up for you because it would take him like 2 hours to do it," and he's probably right.
smart kid. All you got to do is click two buttons and give them a credit card number. It's smart kids.
Well, do you have to pay
You want
for
to give
it?
your kids a credit card number?
Do you have to pay for it?
Of course, you have to pay for it.
Well, that's something some
Peacock
people
is
won't
a
do.
streaming service.
I thought there was a free version of it.
There might be. They might give you a sale price this week. In fact, I'm gonna have to look for that because I was about to cancel it because I just found out I was paying more than I thought I was.
Well, yeah, but this is going to be the first time, and it's also a test. This could be
Of
the
course it
future
is.
of television with the NFL. That a lot more games will be streamed, and
How many people are willing to pony up? That's what it's all
Well,
about.
it's also the other thing is it's about promotion, cross promotion. When ESPN picked up the NBA, ESPN doesn't promote the games the way NBC used to. NBC used to promote the NBA games tremendously,
Yeah.
and ESPN gets it, okay, but then they start to include ABC in the cross promotion, so it's a little different. But NBC used to cross promote the NBA tremendously, so it's all about the cross promote more than anything else. So when the game is on, because not everyone watches ESPN or gets Peacock. So you have to have a cross promotion so people know it's there. Because after a while, people just start losing interest, and I hope that doesn't happen. But
Well, they'll lose interest if they don't have Peacock. Either that or people will sign up for a month, watch the NFL playoffs, and then end it.
yeah, well, I'm probably not signing up for that game because as much as I like
Which
to
game
watch
is it again?
the Bills Steelers.
It's a good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fun game to watch.
It'll be an entertaining game. Because I'll tell you what, Mike Tomlin is so far and away the most underrated coach in the NFL. He gets his teams they win, and he has winning records. His team this Steelers team is terrible, and he's got them in the playoffs.
Right.
I would love to have Mike Tomlin coaching either the Jets or the Giants. Would love it. And the Steelers are never going to let him go. Because even though he probably takes a decent amount of abuse in Pittsburgh, because he's not Chuck Noll, but this
But who
guy,
is?
he's been a winner for a couple of decades now.
Well, the thing about Pittsburgh is they're used to having good coaches, or
And
likable.
Mike Tomlin is one of them.
Yeah, so why would you leave? And especially if you own
Jets are
Pittsburgh.
used to having Rich Kotite.
Yeah, if you have a bad coach in Pittsburgh, you're going to hear about it like the first weekend. You know, it's very much such a football town.
Because their fans know their stuff.
Yeah, it's not a baseball town.
Pittsburgh Steelers would never hire somebody like Adam Gase.
No,
it would never happen.
No, they wouldn't. No, I agree with you.
But by the way, speaking of that Buffalo Miami game, did you see that play that the Bills got the winning touchdown on?
Yes, it was a great return.
No, well, the ball, the pass that hit the guy in the helmet.
Oh, that one. No, I didn't see that. What happened?
Josh Allen throws the ball, hits off a helmet. The ball goes almost straight up in the air. And I don't even remember who the guy was who caught it, but he basically turned his back to the field, had his toes right on the line in the back of the end zone, and just leaned and just as he was falling, caught the ball with his toes literally an inch inside the line. This was after the ball hit off somebody's helmet.
Okay.
It was the most amazing luck I've ever seen, but it was also one of the most skillful catches you're ever going to see.
Right.
From a receiver who had to make a very quick adjustment and like I said, not even basically save their season, did save their season.
By the way, our director, Sean Novat, just texted me, even though he's in the other room, and I wish he'd actually come in here because besides what I'm about to tell you, we can talk very quickly on how the Mets aren't signing people. Well, they're signing the wrong people. You know,
they did. They signed a pitcher.
Yeah, it's not.
Are we shifting, brother?
No, not. But I just want to read this. Sean says, mention Russell Douglas. He is the cornerback of the Bills, number 31, and is a 2015 graduate of Nassau Community College. So he walked around this campus.
You can say he caught the pass if you want.
And he played Lions football. So it's Russell Douglas.
Russell Douglas,
number
not Russell Wilson.
31. And he walked around this campus. You know, he might have been down here one time. Who knows? That's good. Okay. But I'd like to get Sean because there's nothing better than Sean getting crazy about the Mets. It could be a little like we can have a great show. Just Sean goes off on the Mets, and it would I think it'd be a highly rated show. You know.
All right. Well, here, brother, I'm just looking at the box score. Dawson Knox was the wide receiver who caught the pass. It wound up being a 5-yard pass. But yeah, you're talking about the 96-yard punt return by Deontay Hardy.
Yes, that's who I was talking.
That tied the score early in the fourth quarter.
That was a great play. I mean, this is Sean. Here comes Sean. Hello, Sean. How are you? The Mets didn't sign anyone yet, did they?
No. They signed some people I've never heard of.
Yeah,
Sean Mania.
Well, it's not who we need, though.
Well, listen, you want me to get...
What was the name of our Nassau Community College guy?
His name was
Russell
Douglas.
Right.
I'm looking for him. I'm looking for him in the box. I don't see him.
Played cornerback, number 31.
All right. Well, I don't see him in the box from yesterday's game.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he did okay.
I think he was injured.
So anyway,
hopefully he's healthy for the playoffs.
I love listening to talk about the Mets when
the Bills will be in the playoffs.
When they don't do anything, because they're not doing anything right now.
You know what? I've given up on the Mets for 2024, and I'm looking forward to 2025. And I actually, you're going to be surprised, but I like the direction they're taking for this year. Subdued. Let's get money off the payroll because 90% of what they're paying, who they're paying, aren't even on the team anymore.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
And I don't think they're throwing in the towel on this year. I think maybe if certain people overperform, if Kodai Senga is awesome, if Pete Alonso is awesome, if Jeff McNeil goes back to the way he was 2 years ago, then there'll be buyers at the trade deadline, and I think they'll go for it. But I do not expect Pete Alonso to get that extension prior to the trade deadline because I think they want to use him as trade bait to get the prospects they need for 2025 if the team fails like it's expected to do.
Well, I agree with you about Pete Alonso. The thing that's getting me right now about the Mets, they're not signing anyone, but they have this. They keep advertising all over the place about buy the 3-pack.
Yes.
And the ticket prices have not gone down. And they've already said that this year is going to be a rebuilding year. So you would think they would give better deals to get you to buy tickets.
You don't want the bobblehead, Rob?
I do want the bobblehead, but I don't want to pay a $100 ticket to get it.
Well, yeah, the price. I mean, last year I was a 20 seat.
You had a good season
membership. They raised the price 20%, and
really? Wow.
I wasn't 100% happy with the perks I got as being a member. Some of them were kind of cool, but I didn't get any big perks because they were saving those for the full season people, and I was a measly little 20-game person. So, but this year I opted out of the membership, and I've said, you know what? Let's see how much I spend on sites like StubHub and SeatGeeks and whatever.
That's what happens when you have a bad team. You can buy really cheap seats there.
Right.
So, and sometimes it's about seeing the game, not seeing if they win or not, though you want them to win.
Of course I want them to win, and I'll be rooting for them to win. I'm not giving up on the year, and I don't think the players that'll be on the field are giving up on the
I hope not.
But I think the management has put their sights on making 2025 as good as possible. Mauricio will be back after his ridiculous injury that he suffered in winter ball.
Right. And, of course, the Braves are going to play really well this year, so one more season for them to, get rid of their contracts.
And then the Dodgers signed somebody else yesterday I never heard of.
Was it for $1 trillion?
Not $1 trillion, but the Dodgers are going to be the unstoppable team, obviously, this year. And if not this year, definitely next year when I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. Who's the $70 million guy?
Shohei Ohtani.
Thank you, Shohei Ohtani. Next year he hopefully goes back to pitching as well. So, the Dodgers are set up. It could be Dodgers, Mets going for everything in 2025. We'll see.
We can hope.
We can hope.
Anyway.
But no, I'm not going to go crazy this year. I expect failure, and I'll be pleasantly surprised if everyone overperforms.
Well, I mean, let's just back up a little bit here. I mean, the Mets have not said that they are rebuilding. I forget the word that they used after last season.
Yeah,
I do remember being amused by it because it was a word that I'd never heard a baseball team use before. But there's still a lot of talent here, and they've signed a couple of pitchers that, to me, are kind of risky, with Severino and now Sean Manaea. But this is a team that still has 90 win potential as far as I'm concerned.
If everyone,
there's still a lot of money on the books.
Sure, if everyone overperforms,
there should be a lot of talent on the books.
If everyone overperforms, if McNeil goes back to the way he was 2 years ago, and Alonso hits another 40 home runs, anything's possible.
We can hope. Oh. I mean, I would be so happy that by June we're saying, well, look, the Mets are actually they're in second place,
first or second place. Yeah,
yeah. It wouldn't be a bad thing.
That's not going to happen. The Braves, I mean, I think it's a good strategy for the Mets to basically say, look, we're not going to be as good as the Braves. And that's probably not going to happen for at least a couple of years because the Braves have a lot of good young talent, and it's all signed to long-term contracts.
And they need to stay healthy, too, so anything's possible.
That's true.
So the Mets need another year of development for the guys they got last year at the deadline, and then they need to incorporate them into their team so they'll have less expensive players on the books that will allow them to go after more established players who can, that's how you build a team in 2024.
Yep.
In fact, that's been the way how you build a team from probably the last decade or so. Some teams have figured that out, other teams have not.
Yeah, I feel like buying stock in the Atlanta Braves because you can buy it's a tracking stock.
Too late.
Yes, it is too late.
Okay.
They're that good. They've been that good for a while.
Their odds will give you about 10 cents on your $100 bet.
Because I would love to see that. Like Rob, here's some stock in the Atlanta Braves you just bought, and I can combine it with my MSG stock. So
I've said it on this show several times, a bunch of times. Alex Anthopoulos is the best general manager in baseball, and it's not close.
Okay.
He is by far the best general manager in baseball. I don't agree with the Chris Sale thing that he did last week. It's one thing to acquire Chris Sale and have the Red Sox pay $17 million of his $27 million salary for the season, but then Anthopoulos gave him an extension. Chris Sale has been damaged goods for the last 4 years. If he's healthy, yes, he's an ace caliber pitcher. He hasn't been healthy for 4 years.
Well, that's that's a chance you got to take with a guy like Chris Sale.
It's a massive risk.
Yeah, well, what can you do? Anyway, thanks for stopping by, Sean.
No problem. Let's go Mets.
Let's have a Mets WHPC night.
Yes, we should do that.
Let's do that.
I'd love to do that. That'd be great, actually. Go down there early, get there, stay late. Mets have to win. Get it on a night where it's like bobblehead night or something.
Oh yeah,
let's
bobbleheads for everybody.
Let's all donate blood and get tickets.
Yeah, let's do that. Anyway, you're listening to 90.3 WHPC from the press box. I'm Rob Leonard. He is award-winning sports writer Tim Leonard. If you'd like to give us a call, please do. 516-572-7440.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is proudly sponsored by PDQ, people dedicated to quality. PDQ, a chicken restaurant, now open at 1236 Old Country Road in the Westbury Plaza and 1004 Broad Hollow Road in Farmingdale. PDQ's menu includes fresh, hand-breaded, made-to-order chicken tenders and chicken nuggets with no added hormones or steroids. Plus, handcrafted sandwiches, salads, hand-spun milkshakes, and more. PDQ can also cater your next event. Open 7 days a week. For more information, visit eatpdq.com.
Okay. Yo.
Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing.
Check it out.
Would you rather be rich in the year 1800 or poor today?
I'm already poor today. Like, I'm living the reality as is. But in the 1800, I'll be definitely discriminated against because of my skin color.
That's what I was saying. Like,
I will be a rich Negro.
I don't even know if that would be a fun time to have money, though.
Yeah, what are you going to
land?
Grains.
I'll just buy daughters.
What?
Oh.
You know what? What do you mean by daughters?
It's the 1300s. I can.
Wow.
Attracted him.
And a room full of women, mind you.
Right.
A room full of women.
No decorum.
Listen.
This is not the first time he's done this.
You're tall. You're first.
I'm tall and I'm first, and I'm kicking you because you're short and you're little.
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
Welcome back to From the Press Box on 90.3 WHPC. We're streaming at many sites, but always start out at nccradio.org. Remembering David Soul. It's actually a good song. It really is. It has that middle 70s, it came out in 77 feel. Lots of strings, piano. Anyway, I know Tim is upset by that. Right, brother?
By what? By what?
Oh, no, nothing. I'm just saying about David Soul, how you miss him. So.
Yeah, he was, he was Hutch.
He was Hutch.
What else can I say? He was Hutch.
He was also, I remember the cameo they made in the movie. Which
exactly. Which was awesome.
It was very cool. By the way, brother, don't forget about High Fidelity every Sunday at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. Join Kim Tracy for a mix of music with a focus on newer music from less familiar artists. Playlists often reflect the college radio charts. Also listen for old favorites, guilty pleasures, and some kick butt covers. That is High Fidelity every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC. Anyway, this show becomes a podcast later on. Go to Spreaker.com or any place you find your podcasts. Anyway, brother, let us continue talking about sports because that's what we do. What do you want to make our next topic? You want to talk about the NHL All-Star Game, the Islanders, or you want to talk about the Knicks? Which one? I'll let you pick.
Knicks are going well, brother.
Knicks are playing well. They're still not going to dominate the division, but they won 4 in a row. They're 21-15. The trade they made has turned out to be very good. You really can't say anything bad about it as of right now, and that's all you can really say. I think they're playing well. They just have to figure out how to play more as a team, but they're getting there.
Well, since the trade, it's been nothing but wins.
Yep.
So that's encouraging. I think. First of all, that Thibodeau wanted Anunoby, excuse me, and because he wanted the defense, and that guy is a lockdown defender,
right?
But he's also he basically is the quintessential what they call a 3-and-D player, brother.
Right.
He's a hellacious defender, and he can also shoot the 3-pointer. So that's what the Knicks needed to spread the offense, and you could talk all you want about R.J. Barrett. He was third pick overall in the draft a few years ago, but R.J. Barrett was never going to be that guy because R.J. Barrett, number one, is not a very good defensive player. Never was, never will be. And number two, isn't really a perimeter shooter. R.J. Barrett's game in college, especially, was all about breaking down defenses and driving to the basket. And with the Knicks, he wasn't really able to do that because Jalen Brunson had the ball in his hands, and Barrett's place on the court was basically in the corner. So how are you going to drive to the basket from the corner? You're not. So
no,
the Knicks didn't use him right. And don't be surprised if he goes off in Toronto, because I'm sure Toronto is going to make him the focal point of their offense as soon as they make a couple more trades. Because Toronto's breaking it down. They're tearing it down, and R.J. Barrett and maybe Quickly will be the two guys that they build around. But they're going to have to sign Quickly to a massive extension to get him to stay, because he turned down $100 million from the Knicks this offseason because he wants to start. And he was never going to start with Brunson there. So another guy who the Knicks weren't able to use the way the player wanted to be used, but that happens. That's life in professional basketball.
No, that's true. And I think, do you want to stay in Toronto is maybe the question.
Barrett does.
Yeah, Barrett does, but I'm not sure the other guy is, But that's the way it is.
Quickly will stay with whoever matches his price. If they say, yeah, we'll pay you what you want, then all of a sudden he'll be very happy in Toronto.
Okay. I've always wondered when they go to Canada, the dollar sometimes isn't what it's supposed to be. I wonder if they get paid based on the Canadian dollar or the American dollar. So
I don't know how they have resolved that, but that was an issue years ago, especially with the NHL years ago.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I think they were doing the Canadian contracts in Canadian dollars.
And there was times when the Canadian dollar was
I'm not
really
doing
good
because it's back then the dollar was worth like 75%. The Canadian dollar was worth 75% of the American dollar. So
right.
Obviously, you're taking a pretty massive pay cut to go up there.
Right.
But I want to say that's been addressed, and that all teams are now negotiating in the same currency. But I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and say I know I'm right, because I don't.
Okay.
But it just looking at what the Knicks have done in the last few games. All right, a win over the Timberwolves, brother. Very good team, the Timberwolves. They're playing very well this season. 112-106. Then they beat the Bulls, which is a lousy team, 116-100. Then they just I can't even I want to say a rude comment, but I won't. Let's just say they really beat the 76ers bad, 128-92.
Yeah.
And then they beat Washington, which is another terrible team, 121-105. But what's the common denominator in all those games, brother?
I don't know.
The defense. The defense.
Okay.
Highest total against, 106. In today's NBA, that's a good defensive performance.
Yeah, because everyone's shooting three-pointers, brother.
Well, it doesn't matter. They still have to play defense, brother. The Knicks are scoring 112, 116, 128, 121. And they're allowing at most 106.
Right.
That's a very good formula for victory.
That's true. I agree. I think the Knicks going to have a better team than I think people thought about. I think I like.
Well, the Knicks aren't done. Also, brother.
What, they're going to make more trades?
They put who was it? They put somebody on waivers the other day, and the expectation is that they are creating a roster spot so they can make some moves at the trade deadline, which is in a few weeks. So that's what's going on with the Knicks. I mean, clearly they're anticipating another move. I mean, obviously this team is not good enough to win a title. I'm not even sure that this team is good enough to win, or to get fourth place in the East. I mean, as of right now, the Knicks are sixth in the East. But they're tied with Orlando and Cleveland.
Yeah, so they're on fourth.
But when you look at the East, you're looking at the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Sixers. Those are the three top
Right.
teams.
And I expect the Knicks to be the fourth team this year, brother, in the Eastern Conference.
Maybe.
It won't be a strong four, but I think, Cleveland, Orlando,
Orlando is a rising team, brother.
And they're
Rising,
also
good young team. They built with the draft. They've gotten some good draft picks in that program. And my man Robbie Randazzo, who's been a Magic fan, a long-suffering Magic fan, has finally got some happiness in his life.
And they're retiring Shaq's number, too. Big deal with it. They're retiring Shaquille O'Neal's number.
What took so long?
I don't know. So, that's a pretty cool thing. And, but right now, Knicks, you're right, 6, but could, it's technically 4th. They're only 2 games behind Philly. So, why not? You could go on a run.
2.5, 3 in a loss column.
Okay.
But, it's obviously we're not even halfway through the season yet.
No.
There's a long way to go here. But
what team's shocking me, brother?
To see what they do, and where they go, because I still think I genuinely believe that the Knicks' ultimate goal is to try to get Luka Doncic from the Mavericks. But that's not going to happen at the trade deadline because the Mavericks are also 22-15, or actually, I don't want to say also, the Knicks are 21-15. So the Mavericks are in 6th in the Western Conference, and they're clearly in the mix, and they're going to the playoffs because there's a fairly decent sized drop off after the Mavericks into that 8, 9, 10 slots. Although you see Phoenix and Los Angeles Lakers are 9 and 10 in the West, and you expect them to move up with the talent that they have. But I still don't know why I keep holding on to this belief, but I really do think that the Knicks are targeting Luka Doncic and will give 5 first-round picks to the Dallas Mavericks to get him.
I don't know. They finally have draft picks.
That's why you amass draft picks.
Yeah, but at the same time,
like
it's nice.
Doncic.
It's nice if you're a team that say, we got some draft picks coming.
But
for years
if
the Knicks
pick is
didn't.
like number 18 or 20 or something like that, you're not going to get a difference maker kind of player unless you get very lucky.
Yeah, lucky. Maybe this is a year for the Knicks.
Indiana Pacers got Tyrese Halliburton at 11 or 12 or whatever it was, a few picks after the Knicks took Obi Toppin, and I was screaming for him to pick Halliburton that year, and they didn't. But the Knicks needed a point guard. Here's Halliburton as a combo guard. Hey, take him. And the Knicks instead took Obi Toppin, and that just turned into a waste.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm also a little concerned about Brooklyn. 16-21. There's nothing dominant about them at all. Nothing. I don't know.
They're finding ways to lose, brother, and they're losing against bad teams.
Well, the thing gets me.
That's my biggest concern with them. They just lost to Portland. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Lost to Portland at home. Portland's one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Right.
How do you lose at home to a team that's traveling across the country, and you're losing to that bad of a team in your own building? It was disgraceful.
One thing about the Nets, brother, I have to say this. When they built that arena in Brooklyn, it was like, okay, that's nice. And they got a team because you need a team to hold an arena. But I expected the people in Brooklyn to embrace the Nets more, and they really haven't. They still seem like they're the leftover team in New York City. While the Islanders, someone like the Islanders, they're not the leftover team. They have their following. They have their own arena now. But to me, the Brooklyn Nets is like the team that Brooklyn forgot. I don't know.
You need success, brother. That's what it's all about. If the Nets either have success or can figure out a way to either trade for a marquee star or draft a marquee star, somebody, one or the other. But they like Mikal Bridges was kind of supposed to be that guy, but he really hasn't emerged this season like I thought he would. So that's the big issue for the Nets is they need that kind of player. They need somebody who is going to be identifiable and who can show. Like, Bridges is scoring 21.2 points a game, which I'll tell you what, it's a good average. He's playing well, but it's not superstar numbers. Spencer Dinwiddie, who's been around the Nets for a long time, 13.8 points, 6.3 assists, playing pretty well. But again, he's not a star name. So
no, and in New York, you have to be a star. Let's be honest, or at least likable.
Let's face it. New York loves stars, and the Nets don't have it.
Not right now.
That's a big issue as far as why the public maybe hasn't embraced them as much as you would like.
Yeah, well, I figured Brooklyn's is a basketball county. Everyone plays. It's like everyone plays basketball there, and I just expected it just a little bit more. And
but when you're 16 and 21,
yeah,
people in New York are just going to kind of look at you and say, all right, whatever. Call me when you're over 500.
Right. So okay. Well, anyway, the Islanders. We got the All-Star game coming up. There is an Islander in there. That's a good thing. I don't know what to say about the Islanders. They keep going up and down as a team, and I'm happy about this. But it doesn't seem like they're moving forward. It just seems like they're there.
Well, I don't know what has you happy about losses, brother. But
Well, they last week they won a lot of games, and this week
and this week they didn't.
Right. That's what bothers me.
Well, I mean, first things first, brother. Matthew Barzal has been selected for what they're calling the initial NHL All-Star team. NHL All-Star Weekend will take place February 1st to 3rd this year, and apparently the popular player draft is back, with celebrity captains being paired with all-stars to choose the 4 teams for the 3-on-3 tournament. This whole thing is just, to me, it's a joke. But Barzal has been selected as one of the initial players. Fan voting will determine the final 8 skaters and 4 goalies. We also have Rangers goalie Igor Shesterkin and Devils center Jack Hughes, who also were named to this initial All-Star team with Barzal. And a fun fact, brother, Quinn Hughes from Vancouver, who was Jack Hughes' brother, also was part of the initial All-Star team.
Okay, good to know.
So, nice for the Hughes family. We'll see if they get the third brother in there, but that seems unlikely.
Like the Sutter brothers.
Exactly. That's kind of where the Hughes brothers are right now. But as for the Islanders, it's something that we keep talking about with them, where they'll have a good week and they move up, but this was a while ago now. They're just going win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And this past week they lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
They had a good game against the Coyotes. They won 5-1. Bo Horvat got a couple of goals in that game. Sorokin made 24 saves. It's not even the 24 saves. It's the fact that he had to make only 24 saves, which means the Islanders finally buckled down on defense a little bit. That's more playing Islanders hockey. And that's what we need to see more from this team. But when you're looking at, a 5-2 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights, or a 5-4 loss to the Avalanche, both very good teams, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and give them grief for losing those 2 games, because those are 2 of the best teams in the league. But also a 3-1 loss to the Penguins. Now the Penguins are they're below the Islanders in the standings. They're only 4 points behind them, but to me that's a game that you probably need to win. And that comes a few days after a 7-0 loss to the Penguins, which was a disaster.
Yeah, you can't lose 7-0 to anyone.
And that was at home.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, and that was the Penguins scored 6 goals in the second period that game.
Ouch.
Terrible.
Do you leave after the second period if you're an Islander fan?
And for that one, I would have. 6-0 in the second period. I'm out of there.
That's too bad. We should say for the NCAA football, the championship game is tonight.
Tonight, brother.
Undefeated Michigan versus undefeated Washington. And there's talk that, this whole thing with the playoffs doesn't have the same feel as the basketball, the men's basketball. And I tend to agree. I mean, I'm sure all the games.
In what way, brother?
Well, to me, the Rose Bowl should be the game. It should be the championship game. Now,
they rotate it.
That's the thing. I don't think they should. I think it should be the Rose Bowl.
They have to, because otherwise you're taking money out of their pockets.
Well, that's the thing,
and that's why they decided to take the four biggest bowl games, or the three biggest bowl games, I guess, and say, all right, we're just going to rotate this every 3 years, and
then why
1 year the Rose Bowl gets it, the next year I don't even remember what it is, the Orange Bowl, whatever, but one everybody gets it once every 3 years, so that they can brag and promote themselves and say, oh, well, we're the national championship game.
Well, that's the problem.
It's for the NCAA to say to the people who run the bowls and whose livelihoods depend on the bowls, oh, yeah, you're not going to be in the national championship game anymore. Because it used to be random. If the Pac-10 winner and the Big Ten winner and they would go to the Rose Bowl, well, if that turned out to be the national championship game, then the Rose Bowl was the national championship. It was just it was dumb luck. It was whoever was good that year. And it would kind of get sorted out. It wasn't always in the same game. You couldn't always say, well, this is the national championship game, because nobody knew. But if you wound up with number 1 and number 2 in the same game, then yeah, you could say, well, all right, this is for all the marbles, as the saying goes.
Yeah, but that's one of the problems. If you keep switching it, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't seem legitimate.
Well,
it seems like the
as
assignment.
legitimate as it gets, bro. It's a playoff.
Yeah, but it's also the way they do the football. I mean, the basketball, there's a winner, and it's just
winners
called
in football too, brother. I don't know what.
Yeah, but there's no name for the bowl games or the games in basketball or whatever. And so, it's just here's
the national championship.
Yeah, that's it. So, and they have it at different places every year, and I understand that. So, that's just me. I don't know, brother.
I don't know. All I can tell you, brother, is tonight what you should be looking for. Michigan is going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to control the clock. They're going to try to keep Washington's offense off the field, because that's the way they're going to win. Because if they can't do that, if Washington stops their run game and allows Michael Penix Jr. to get the ball, then the Washington Huskies of all teams are going to be your national champion. Because that team can score points.
Right.
And Michigan needs to be able to slow them down. And the only way you slow them down is ball control. So Michigan tonight is going to look a lot like Coach Parcells' teams back in the 80s. They're going to be running, and trying for these, 80-yard, 15-play drives to take as much much time off the clock as possible.
Which is what Coach Parcells did in 1991, the Giants, when they beat the Bills.
Exactly, brother, exactly. That's what we're looking at, because Washington can put up points in a hurry. And both of these teams last week went through some stuff just to get to the championship game. I mean, Washington, Texas almost won the game on the last play.
Right.
Washington DB made a great play, tipping a pass away. I thought he leaned on the receiver a little bit, but whatever. It's the last play of the game, and Michigan had its hands full with Alabama. That game could have easily gone the other way as well. It was really entertaining semifinal games, which usually is not the case. But both of these semifinal games went down to the last play of the game. So outstanding stuff. So I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I'm really looking forward to it, and to see, which one of these teams comes away with the national championship.
Right. Anyway, brother, that just about does our show, or the end of our show. Thank you, and hope you get well. I mean,
you too, brother.
You've been trying not to cough, and I've been trying not to cough. And who's in the background coughing? Big Ed. Big Ed's coughing up a storm.
Big Ed's still coughing.
He's still coughing, man. He's got a coughing thing going on, man.
Hey, Big Ed, we're sick now too.
Timmy says we're sick too.
Everybody's sick.
That's right. By the way, your WHPC weather forecast powered by Does Bagels, with locations in Garden City Park, Freeport, Levittown, and opening tomorrow on 7th Street in Garden City. Today, here in Garden City at Nassau Community College, the high is going to be about 41 degrees. Tonight it's going to go down to about 34 degrees. Currently outside the studios here at Nassau Community College, it is 39 degrees. Coming up next is Big Ed with the Good Gold Show. Take care, thank you, and we'll see you next time. This show becomes a podcast later on. Bye-bye.